On a cold winter afternoon in Swipe, Maxwell, a boy about 14 years old, was trekking down the familiar road home after a long day. His breath was evident in the cold air, and the old coat on his body was the only thing that helped him withstand the cold wind that cut through his skin. Maxwell has nothing to spare. His life and his mother's life was always struggling. Money was always a problem that made his mother have to bear it day and night. That day, like every other day, Maxwell came home from school, taking advantage of a few odd jobs to earn a little more money to help his mother make ends meet. But it was in that poverty and fatigue that Maxwell did something that surprised everyone. As he passed by a deserted street corner, he saw an elderly man sitting curled up on the sidewalk. His appearance exuded fatigue, his thin hands wrapped around his knees, shivering in the bitter cold. His tattered clothes could not withstand the harsh weather of winter. Maxwell paused, his gaze resting on the man. In that moment, his worries about rent or education seemed to disappear. Instead, his heart aroused an intense sense of compassion. He approached the man. Though there was nothing sparing, Maxwell bent down, rummaged through his pockets, and handed him some of the change he had just earned from his afternoon gardening work. But the man shook his head, his distant eyes full of sadness. Looking at him, Maxwell suddenly realized that what he needed more than anything was not money, but a little warmth to overcome this bitter cold. Without hesitation, Maxwell took off his only coat and put it gently on him. "I need him more than I do," Maxwell said, his voice low but firm. The man raised his head to look at him, his eyes watery, speechless. His trembling hands touched the shirt, as if he did not believe the truth in front of him. Maxwell smiled, patted him on the shoulder, and turned his back and walked away. The cold wind hit him, making his small body tremble. But strangely, his heart was warm, as if he had just been ignited by the fire of compassion. For Maxwell, it was just a natural act, a way to help someone who needed help more than he did. But he didn't know that that small act had touched the strange man's heart and would change his life in the days that followed. No matter how harsh the cold was, Maxwell's kindness and selflessness became a light to dispel the cold night, bringing hope not only to the man but also to his own life. Maxwell lives with his mother in a small old apartment on the outskirts of Swipe. The apartment is located in a poor neighborhood where the sounds of hard life are constantly heard. Distant ambulance sirens, crying children, and quarrels in neighboring houses. Every morning, Maxwell woke up in a room just enough for a single bed and a small study desk. The walls of the room were patchy. The paint was peeling off, revealing the old bricks inside. The ceiling leaked every time it rained, but neither Maxwell nor his mother had the money to repair it. Maxwell's mother worked from morning to night in a textile factory. Her meager salary was barely enough to cover basic necessities such as rent, utility bills, and food. Occasionally, she had to work night shifts to pay for Maxwell's tuition, because she always believed that education was the only way out of this life of poverty. Maxwell loved his mother dearly. He understood that every penny his mother earned had to be exchanged for sweat and constant aches and pains on his callous hands. After school, Maxwell didn't have time to have fun like his classmates. He often took odd jobs around the neighborhood to earn extra money to help his mother. From mowing the lawn, delivering the morning newspaper, to cleaning the garden, Maxwell doesn't turn down any job, as long as he can earn a little extra income. One day, he walked kilometers in the cold to deliver a heavy stack of leopards. Other days, he stood for hours to clean up the dry leaves in other people's yards. Despite the tiring work, Maxwell never complained. He always thought that every penny he earned could ease the burden on his mother. The meals in Maxwell's house are very frugal. Breakfast is usually just a slice of dry bread and a little peanut butter. For dinner, if you are lucky, you and I can share a plate of hot rice with some stir-fried vegetables and some meat. There are days at the end of the month, when the money has run out. The two can only eat thin soup cooked from what is left in the refrigerator. But what makes Maxwell admire his mother the most is that she always keeps an optimistic spirit. Despite the difficulties, his mother always smiles and encourages him to try to study. Maxwell wasn't the best student in his class, but he always tried his best. He knew that he had no chance of making mistakes, because every wrong step could make the dream of escaping poverty even more distant. In the evenings, Maxwell would sit studying under dim lights because his mother could not afford to change the light bulbs to brighter. But in his heart, there was always a strong belief that, as long as he tried one day, he and his mother would have a better life. Every day for Maxwell is a fight, not only against hunger and poverty, but also perseverance and determination to rise above circumstances. These difficulties did not knock him down, but on the contrary, they trained him to have a strong heart and a spirit full of energy. In the coldest days of his life, Maxwell still carries a flame of hope, burning brightly, never extinguished. On a cold winter morning, heavy snow covered all the roads. Maxwell was